I just realized, like, I like the concerns that we all have. And Chicago has some. I was out in some protests, just hanging out and just being with people, right? As a pastor, not casting judgment on this or that, but what can I do? You should be there. People are obviously truly bothered. I just wonder if protesting is only mob rule now. I don't know if there's any. I mean, go into law, become a. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything. Write a letter. Organize, but simply getting, it seems like we're doing that more than ever. Like, let's get in the streets. That's Chicago too. Walk around, make a lot of noise, and that's going to change things. And I think it's very superficial. It doesn't actually change anything because you don't know what you want. And then you go home and you think you did a good deed. Thoughts on that? What do you guys think about that?
I have a theory on why everybody has to have a cause. And my theory, everybody's got to stand for something, especially today. And my theory is that there are so many things that are going well for us that we invent causes, or we take something that's slightly off, and we just blow it up to proportions that don't make any sense. And a lot of these people, you see, the riots of last year, protests of last year, whatever you want to call them, a lot of the times people didn't actually know how it got started. They just see a crowd of people and they're like, wow, I've been stuck inside for 3 months, so let's go out and smash some windows. And that's how I read it, is that they want some sort of justice, but they don't know where to get it because Jesus isn't in their heart. It isn't in their life. It's nowhere on the purview.
Yeah.
And so we want to blow up, the Millionaire March is not the same as what was happening last year. It's undeniably different.
I do think the luxury living, I think a lot of things actually contribute to our luxury, our ability to just sit around and stare at our belly button, that we, but without having a meaningfulness to it. Now, then we have to find pain and stuff and the victimhood and all these sort of things. And I think transgender and same-sex stuff to some degree comes out of that luxurious country where we have the time to think really hard about who we are. Whereas I think in other situations, this is a theory, by the way, I'm not saying people don't really have these feelings, but I wonder if there's a sense of, if you're not like literally trying to survive every day, you're not like wondering about, you're not thinking deeply at 5 years old on up, like who you are. You don't have the luxury of even doing that, let alone these issues. I will say, just for those, I do think talking to conservative Black Christians, Lutheran pastors, there's many that are like, no, we are targeted. I mean, they're real people. They're very conservative in other ways. Yep. They really think that. But I think people got in the bandwagon for sure like that. What do you think there, Paul?
I think sometimes like watching it all unravel this past year, like I kind of imagine that kind of wonder if like our political situation is just like brought us to this point. Like there's no, like, so the beautiful thing about a protest, like a march or something like that, like when I was younger, I used to always think that was like the dumbest. Why would you do that? Like, why? Like, who cares? But it was a way to get attention for your cause, and getting attention for your cause. Why? Whose attention did you want? You wanted your legislature's attention. You wanted your senators, your Congress people. You wanted these people who needed your vote, right, so that you could sway them. And I think part of it is the way, kind of the point that, or the level that our politics have gone to, that it's almost as if it's fallen on deaf ears. Like I don't believe any of those a-holes anymore. It's that's almost to the point where I am. It's just like, whatever they say, like I just assume, like I really assume they're just lying. Like they're just doing what they want. Like living here in California, it's insane. Like our governor, whatever he says, you're like, what? Like how can you even believe him? So the violence, I think, comes from that. Where like it's real frustration. Like you said, you got colleagues that say, no, this is real. Like this has been pent up and building. And at some point it explodes because all they ever get, their cause, all it ever does is get exploited for political gain for somebody else,
and nothing gets done.
Answers for themselves, right? So whether they're right or wrong, and I would say like clearly we see it when it turns violent. This is wrong, and you're hurting people's livelihoods and things like that's ridiculous. But part of it I think is just the politicians on all sides. It's just everyone's just serving themselves, and they're just out to get their own. And so, at that point, it's like, then why don't the protesters do the same thing? That's kind of what they're doing. Maybe that is terrible, but I think that's where it's come. So part of, and this became hard in the churches, right? When with the lockdowns and things, where it was the language was either you are lockstep with your sort of government mandates, or you were like a rebel, like those people out breaking windows. And it's like, no, there's actually, there's actually a healthy, like our democracy is built off this healthy resistance. And that there's ways to demonstrate in those kind of things. So I don't know.
I remember writing something for Jagged Word about the in-between, that like the pillars of American democracy are based on disagreement and disunity. And when people say like disunity, we need to unify. Right. And really what that just means is everybody needs to agree with me.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's right, left, center. It's what everybody means. I mean, it's not indicting anybody. But like I kind of, maybe because I'm a pugilist at heart, like I like disagreeing with somebody, because then we can wrestle it out and then hug it out at the end and say, thanks for the sparring match. And then we're both better. If it's done well, then we're both better coming out of it. At least we understand other perspectives. But I remember when I wrote that, I don't know when it was, but one of my members had read that, and he said he was bothered, not by what I said, but he said, I don't think it always was this way. And he had this deep hearted, where he grew up around here, it was pretty homogenous neighborhood. And there was a time it was like mama and apple pie, and he can't watch the news anymore because it's like, everything has gone to pot. And he remembers a time when everybody can, plant your victory gardens and you have a common enemy. And now there's no common enemy. Everybody is everybody else's enemy. And so the disagreements have become violent. And then I said, I think it comes back to the fact that we don't have a shared identity anymore, which is, I mean, good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But we don't have common ideals anymore. It's not just that we don't all look the same. It's that we believe completely different things.
I think that's huge. That's why this is worse than the 60s. We're in a weird time of people. And then we have the ability to live in a world that has our reality painted for us, whether it's news or whatever, or tweets or whatever you want to do, and remove other things. And that just causes to be more separated. I think our challenge is not, we've not lost the ability to agree. We've lost the ability to disagree, is what has happened in this country.
Yes. There's an intolerance of mere tolerance. It's not just, okay, agree to disagree and let's try to understand each other a little better.